2 million years ago, you would not have been the predator. You would have been the meal. Cave lions, twice the size of modern lions, stalked the same plains your ancestors crossed. Short-faced bears stood taller than a basketball hoop on their hind legs. Direwolves hunted in packs built to run down anything slower than them, and your ancestors were slower than them. Every one of these animals had claws, speed, night vision, or raw power that the human body simply does not have. And yet, today, every single one of them is gone, extinct, wiped from the planet entirely. You're still here. So what happened? This isn't a story about humans becoming stronger. It's stranger than that. Humans never got claws, never grew fangs, never developed venom or armor, or the ability to outrun a sprinting predator. By every physical measure, your ancestors stayed weak. The animals around them changed too, but not in the direction you'd expect. They disappeared. Start with the most basic problem your ancestors faced every single night: darkness. For a nocturnal predator, darkness is an advantage. For an early human with poor night vision and no claws, darkness was a death sentence waiting to happen. Then something changed. Researchers studying Wonderwork Cave in South Africa found evidence of controlled fire use dating back roughly 1 million years, among the earliest confirmed examples of hominins managing flame inside a shelter. That's not just light. That's the first time in the history of life on Earth that a prey species could push back the dark on command. A fire doesn't just illuminate, it rearranges the entire balance of power. A predator that relies on stealth and darkness suddenly has neither. The 30-foot circle of firelight became something almost no predator would cross voluntarily. Inside that circle, for the first time, your ancestors weren't scanning the shadows every second. They had time. Time to rest, time to talk, time to plan. That time mattered more than the fire itself. But fire alone doesn't explain extinction on this scale. Something else was happening. Something built into the human body that doesn't look like an advantage until you understand what it actually does. Humans are terrible sprinters. A pronghorn antelope, a cheetah, even a fairly average wolf will outrun a human over any short distance without trying hard. But humans have something almost no other large mammal has: the ability to run for hours without overheating. Researcher Louis Liebenberg documented this directly by studying sand hunters in the Kalahari, who still practice what's called persistence hunting. They don't outrun their prey, they simply refuse to stop. Most four-legged predators cool themselves by panting, and panting only works while they're not running flat out. So they sprint, then they have to stop and cool down. Humans sweat through millions of glands across nearly hairless skin, which means a human can keep moving while a faster animal is forced to rest. Track the same animal for hours, through heat, through exhaustion, and eventually it collapses from heat stroke while the human pursuing it is still walking. It sounds almost unfair in reverse. The slowest member of the chase wins, just by never stopping. This single trait reshaped what weak actually meant. Speed stopped being the deciding factor. Endurance was. Now combine that endurance with a weapon humans actually built rather than grew. In 1995, archaeologists working at Schöningen in Germany uncovered wooden spears dated to around 400,000 years old, carved with the same aerodynamic balance you'd find in a modern javelin. These weren't sharpened sticks used in desperation. They were engineered tools, designed and refined specifically to be thrown with accuracy at a distance. For the first time, a predator didn't need claws within striking range. It needed a plan, a tool, and a group that could execute both together. And that's the piece that made everything else work: cooperation. At a site called Dmanisi in Georgia, researchers uncovered the skull of an early hominin who had lost every tooth years before death, found by Lord Kipanidze and colleagues in 2005. No teeth means no ability to chew tough food alone in the wild. This individual should have starved within weeks. Instead, the skull shows the bone had healed and remodeled over years, meaning someone fed this person soft food, prepared food, for a very long time, long after they had anything to offer in return. That's not an isolated kindness. It's a window into something predators never developed: care that outlasts usefulness. A similar discovery came from Shanidar Cave in Iraq, where researchers studying a Neanderthal skeleton found evidence of profound hearing loss alongside other serious physical impairments, documented by Trinkhaus and Valot in 2017. By the standard rules of survival, an individual like this should have been left behind or killed off by the first predator that found him alone. He wasn't. He lived